Hey everyone, how's it going? It's Mr. Murray, and I'm coming to you today with actually an interesting video that doesn't have anything to do with math. This video is essentially the fundamentals of what you need to know about email. Now, folks, the reason I'm giving this presentation to you today is because it's just so important to think about how you're perceived by other people. And when you email, it's like it's like speaking for you, right? It's like communicating what you're trying to say. But here's the thing. Imagine if I came to work, right? I came into Milton High School and I was wearing sweatpants and I was wearing a t-shirt. You know what I mean? And I was wearing some like really like scuffed up shoes, right? What would you think? You think this guy doesn't really care about what he's doing, right? It wouldn't come off good. So when you send emails and what you're doing sometimes without thinking about it is that's what you're doing. You're coming off as someone who's like, not really caring about how you're communicating with other people. And you don't mean to come off like that. I know you don't, but that's how it might be perceived as others. So in this presentation, I'm going to go through some things that will let you, convey the message you want to convey, but also leave a good impression on the person you're conveying it to. And I'm going to show you how to do it. And you're not going to have to do that much work, believe it or not. All right. So the first thing that you're going to do, okay, is you're going to want to have a signature. Now, when you make an email, say I compose, okay, the signature is always the part, I'm just going to dismiss this, sorry, is always the part at the end. Now, I have one. If you look at any of my emails, right, it says my name, it says what I'm doing, right, mathematics teacher, Milton High School, my contact information, right? So, right, you guys are students, you're not going to have that complicated, but here's the thing. What you can do, I'll show you, is it'll make sure every time you sign off on that email, it's super professional and you're not going to have to do anything. Take a look. So what you're going to do is you're going to click this gear where it says settings and you're going to click see all settings. Okay. Now under general here, what you're going to do, you're going to scroll down. All right. And you're going to find signature. Okay. Super important. So what you're going to do, you're going to create a new signature. I'm just going to call it. Okay. And you know what's really cool? You can make it look however you want. You can put all kinds of color. You can make it bold. Now, I would say you should stick to black. Maybe you could make it like a crimson red for Milton color. Don't put yellow. Don't have it be all different kinds of like, neon colors. That hurts the eyes, right? Let's have it be black. Blue is okay. And again, like Milton, like wildcat red. So like, this is respectable. Although that's the highlight. So just make sure you don't do the highlight, right? You want the background color white. No, none of that background color. Please don't do that. Right, look at Mr. Murray. Let's say you were a student, right? What you would do is you'd say, Joe student, class of 2024. Just putting that at the end, guys, that makes a big difference. No, you don't think it does. I understand, right? It's like, why would that matter? When you write a professional looking email, I'm telling you, you're going to want things from us, right? You're going to want to turn in work late. You're going to want to, maybe come to office hours. You're going to want maybe me to do you a favor one, to maybe write you a letter recommendation. When you come off as professional, people are going to respond in the way you want. It seems like annoying. It seems like frustrating, but that's why I'm going to show you how to do it. And it's not going to even take that much work, I promise. So just make this look nice. You can do this like in an hour. Here's a little life hack. I'm going to move this down. Ready? I'm going to switch the color back to black. Ready for this? Done. Okay. Put that in there. Now what I'm going to do, signature defaults. So I need to make sure by default, whenever I make a new email, this comes up. So I'm going to select, or I'll zoom in, try to zoom in. Oh, it's not working for me. Okay, no worries. This for new emails, that means when you make a new one, and also when you reply. So when someone someone emails you and you want to reply to them, you're going to use that as well. Okay. I'm going to save my changes. And now look what happens. It's automatically in there. Look at that. So you can sign off on your email and you don't even have to type anything. All right. That's big. All right. The next thing you want to do, how do you like address someone? Okay. So here's the kind of things that honestly, think about how you come off. Imagine you send an email that only looks like this. Think about, how that comes off. Let me give you an alternative. And maybe, spice it up if you want. I know that takes a lot of work, but you have to think about how much that is going to make a big difference. So anyway, here's some things you need to know about the email. One, please make sure you always do a subject line. And now what Google is pretty good about is it actually has this predictive text. So please make sure you always have a subject. The subject's like what it's about. All right, I'm sure you sometimes have seen emails where people doesn't put the subject on. When you don't put the subject on, that kind of conveys, and I know you don't mean it, that it wasn't worth your time to put the subject on. You know what I mean? And you don't want to come off like that. You don't mean to come off like that. You're good kids. But I'm just saying, if you don't, that's how you could come off. All right. So I want you to have your best foot forward there and not, make people not want to do what you want if you can help it. Right. So please put a subject here. Ready? Question about the test. Question. Math test. Math test question, right? Something. So these are important things you need to have in any email. A subject. This is what we call salutation. A greeting. Dear Mr. Moray. Hello, Mr. Moray, etc. If you were in college, you might say professor. Some informal, right? Because when you take the time to address someone formally, it shows that you care to address them that way. That makes a big difference, right? If you go, yo, right? It's like, think about how that will come off, right? You want to get what you want, right? You want to accomplish that. I'm telling you, I know it might seem annoying, but these little things, I promise you, make a big difference. All right. All right. Then this would be the main body. Now, sometimes it isn't a good habit. Take a second and add a little something nice. Hope you're doing well. Doesn't take that long. Makes a huge difference, right? Because instead of jumping into business, right, you're showing them, oh, you care about them. You want to know how they're doing. Again, seems like not big, makes a huge difference. Okay. All right. Other things you want to do in general, I really would recommend that you think about spell check. That is important. You can see Google will make some suggestions. I'm just going to keep Smart Compose on. That's something that helps fill things in. I would recommend, and this is like a really big thing that you might find helpful, please consider getting the extension Grammarly. Grammarly's made a really big difference in my writing because what it does is it goes in and it actually suggests ways to make your writing better without as you type, right? And the way that you write and how you come off to other people, right? Thinking about how I'm using your instead of like, right, how are you doing, right? Think about how using the R and the U. Think about that could come off as you don't want to take the time to just type a couple other letters, right? Think about, I'm telling you again, doesn't seem like a big difference. It really is. I hope you had a great weekend. Right? Show me that you don't just want to jump into business. You know, and look, the reality is you might not care. You might not care one bit how my weekend is, right? But I don't know that. But the perception that you care is more important than the reality that you care. Okay? So just take a couple seconds, put that in. I promise you, you're going to notice that things are going to go better for you. I promise you. All right? If not, you can write me an email and yell at me. Basically, in any email, there's going to be three main what we call recipients, people who can receive. Okay, you have a to form, a CC form, or a BCC form. Okay, and what CC stands for is carbon copy. So if you've ever seen maybe your parent or guardian said a plumber come to the house or an electrician come to the house, maybe a cable person come to the house, a lot of times those kind of individuals, or at least back in the day, not to date myself, would have different color forms. So they would have a white form, and underneath would be a pink form, and maybe like a blue form or yellow form. So that as you write on the form, underneath a copy is being made. So rather than have to write it in and then write it in again and then write it again, right? You just write once, and the pressure of the pencil against the paper copies that down. Now, a BCC is what is called a blind carbon copy. And in a blind carbon copy, you cannot see that the person has being sent the mail. So this would be a case where maybe you would send me an email. You would want your parent to know that you are sending me that email. Okay. You would put them in the CC so they would receive this email along with me. So maybe this would be, you would be Joe Student, and this would be like Mr. Moray at miltonps.org. Okay. Make sure you have a valid email there. Okay. So this would mean that Joe Parent, your parent, is going to also receive the exact same email, and I will know that it was sent to them. You will know it was sent to them. And so it is like transparent. So everyone knows who is in the conversation. And then I have the option to reply, and then we can keep the conversation going. Okay. If you put something in the BCC, what that means is that anyone who is in the to or the CC is not going to know that this individual has received it. So for example, when I send this to Mr. Murray at miltonps.org and I CC Joe Parent, when I BCC Joe Student, what that means is that Mr. Moray and Joe Parent will not know that Joe Student has also gotten the exact same email. Now, Joe Student will know. So anyone can see who the message is to and who the people who have been CC'd. So the to and the CC, everyone can see that, including, in this case, Joe Student. The only things that are invisible are the BCC. So Joe Student knows that it was sent to Mr. Moray and to Joe Parent, but Joe Parent and Mr. Moray don't know that it was sent to Joe Student. If you've ever received a blast mail from me, dear students, parents, and guardians, you'll notice that there are no names. It says to me, right? So that I know it was actually sent, but you guys don't know who it was sent to. So then why I do that is so then that way when you reply, instead of it going to every single person who the email was sent to, it goes only to me.